Well, it was a bad week for second chances. Speaking of Lansing, seems the Todd Courser and City Gamrat scandal is finally over. As you remember, Courser resigned and Gamrat was kicked out of the legislature after they used staff to try to cover up their extramarital affair. And on Tuesday, they tried to win back their seats, but voters said no way in what must have been a relief to the Michigan Republican Party. Nolan, let me start with you. I mean, this was a last-ditch effort on their parts. I was surprised that they even made this effort. But do they now quietly go away?
Oh, I assume so, but I'm glad they did make this effort, because now they can't say, well, it was our fellow lawmakers who didn't like us because we were this or because we were that. Now voters have spoken and said, we don't want you. You know, we don't want you in the legislature, and so now they have nobody to blame but themselves for this thing. And I think that was a good affirmation by the voters on Tuesday.
What's the fascination of this there, Nancy?
I was going to say, I feel like they may try to blame someone other than the voters for this.
Of course.
What's the fascination with
Yeah, with this, because because there were camera crews from ABC following them around on election night, so you can only imagine some kind of 2020 special might be coming out of this.
I mean, there's been so much outrageous behavior, particularly from Todd Courser, that I think that you know, there's no telling what he's going to do, and everybody wants to be there to capture it, I guess, if he did something wacky. You know, he's been such a flamboyant and bizarre figure through all of this, with the attempted cover-up of his extramarital affair by starting a rumor that he had been caught with a male prostitute. I mean, this is the old saying about you can't make this stuff up, or like life is stranger than fiction. I mean, this is such a weird thing. I mean, yeah, I'm glad that it's a good thing that voters showed them the door, because the question, outside of the outrageous behavior, being outrageous isn't necessarily a bar to being good at your job, but from the evidence that our reporters found when they went out to their districts, we found that, you know, constituents really weren't satisfied with the work they were doing. They weren't seen very often in the district. They didn't do some of the things their predecessors did.
They weren't returning phone calls.
Right, they were busy. But they also got elected on an agenda that's not necessarily enforceable at the state level, this liberty faction of the Republican Party that's very committed to making radical change in state government, and they seem to be devoting their time they were actually spending on working to doing things that maybe wasn't exactly what their constituents.
So when had they not been caught in a sex scandal, they'd have been reelected.
Sure.
No, but when you have a primary where there's so many Republican players, there is still a possibility that something could have happened, that it could have shaken out. So today, is Ronna Romney McDaniel, who's the head of the Michigan GOP, is she kind of, all right, let's push this to the side, let's be done with this now?
Of course, I think everybody in the state should. But the curious thing about this whole thing to me was, the worse the attention got, the more Todd Courser seemed to love it. I mean,
oh, we got a 2,000-word email from him just like on Sunday or something.
He seemed to be wallowing in this scandal, and the worst people said about all of his bad publicity. He'd repost, put on Facebook. I mean, he seemed to love the notoriety. He felt like he was some sort of outlaw or something. This may be one of the goofiest politicians ever.
Well, they all like a little attention.
We've had some goofy politicians.
And we've had some. That is saying a lot. That is saying a lot for Michigan. All right, moving on now.